Hello, my name is Katie Connor, Product Manager for Shine. In this video, we will review how to enter information on a child's healthcare background, as well as immunizations. So the first thing we want to do is navigate to the Child's Health tab, which is the fourth tab over. And the first panel has information related to the child's healthcare background. We have a program year field at the top because all of the fields in this panel are related to the PIR, which is program year specific. Once we move from the 2013-2014 program year into 2014-2015, if this child is still enrolled next year, you will then see both year options available in this drop-down, and you can click between them to see the PIR health information for each year. Right next to it, you see the enrollment date and the entry date that are defaulted here just for quick access and viewing. Next, we have medical home information. The first field, you can type in what the actual medical home is, and then we have the two PIR questions about whether or not this child had a medical home at enrollment and at end of enrollment. So you just want to select yes or no. Next is dental home. Again, you can write in the specific dental home and then choose yes or no for whether or not the child had a dental home at enrollment and at the time of the end of their enrollment for that program year. The next section is on what type of insurance the child had, both at enrollment and at end of enrollment. And the options you see here are the same options that you can find on the PIR. And finally, we have these additional services fields. And these fields answer the PIR questions about whether the child is receiving medical services through the Indian Health Service or through a migrant community health center at the time of enrollment or at the end of the child's enrollment. In the next video, we will review how to track health requirements in the screenings panel and health concerns here in the concerns panel. But for now, we're going to skip down to the last panel on the health tab, which is immunizations. Entering immunizations is pretty simple. You just enter the date that the child received each of the immunizations in the series. And if there's another immunization due, you can see the due in day here. So the next influenza vaccine is due in 46 days. If you wanted to override the date that the next one is due, you can enter a different date here. And if for some reason that child is exempt from a particular vaccine, you can just click the exempt button and you can see that the rest of the date fields gray out here and just enter in a reason why the child is exempt. And then you want to click the Save button. If you are working with the family to get an appointment or maybe get documentation that some of these immunizations have been received, you want to enter all of your notes in working with the family in this way. So to do so, you want to first click whatever immunizations you're working with the family to get documentation for. So maybe it's the influenza and the varicella vaccine. You can also select them all if you're working, say, in the beginning of a child's enrollment to get all of the vaccines in. So you could select all. But for now, let's just choose influenza and varicella. Then you want to scroll down to this planning area and enter the date that you talked to the parent about bringing in documentation of the immunizations. And then go up to the top of the panel and click Save. What you'll see then in the planning history are your notes about what happened and what the conversation was with the parent, And it'll be specific to that vaccine that you were working on and the date that you talked to the parent. It'll also have your name and the date you entered that note.
At the bottom of the immunizations panel, you have two fields where you'll need to select the child's immunization status at the time of enrollment and at the end of enrollment. Again, these are PIR fields that require you to make a determination of whether the child was exempt from immunizations, whether they needed immunizations, received all possible at that time, or if they were up to date for their age. So those are the basics of how to enter both some basic health information in the first panel and immunizations in the last panel on the Health tab. For more information on adding health requirements and tracking health concerns in Shine, click on the Help portal. And shine on!